is probably more common because obviously we all are very familiar with the Amazons and Flipkarts of the world, wherein we as consumers we are looking at what offer what are the products and what is it that we can buy online, the e-commerce, etc. So that's more of a B2C. But either whether it's a B2C or a B2B, the fundamental principle of marketing remains the same. That is, one, who would be your target audience? What are the products and services you would want to sell and offer? And third is, what is the messaging or what is the communication you are taking out to the audience so that they are able to understand what needs to be done as an action. And how you do that is through the different promotional channels like Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Google, your other various websites where you see different banners, etc., television, OTT, print. There's multiple such channels available, right? And how do you use these channels to kind of really reach out to your audiences? We'll talk about mainly some digital channels because I think in today's world and marketing, digital channels are the most prominent and important. But however, we can always discuss how the other non-digital channels complement each other, how the overall all channels together they complement each other, right? Because one very key thing in marketing to keep in mind is um, you should always think of omni-channel, and this is a term that you will hear quite often in the industry as well. We talk about omni-channel marketing, which means your presence is there across multiple different channels because there are different consumers who not only interact on one particular channel, but they are present in multiple different channels. So if you are present omni-channel, then chances are higher that you are able to influence those audiences or you are able to reach out to these audiences and make them take that action, right? So what could be those various omni-channel is what we'll talk about. In general, there are few categories of digital channels. The most common ones, I think all of you will already know, is social media. In social media, you have the few popular channels, that is LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, right? Then you have the channels that is a part of the Google environment, that is Google search or Google display, or your your other companies such as Flipkart and Amazon. They have also kind of started their own search, right? So that's there. Then you have the premium publications, for example, Economic Times, or let's say CNN, or let's say Bloomberg, or let's say India TV. I mean, you have all of these premium channels or partners who also offer advertising. You will, when a lot of times when you are browsing their web page, you will see those banner ads, which means some of the organization or some of the clientele has actually placed their banners on them so that they would want to promote their services on them, right? So these are the various different broad categories of channels, marketing channels in digital that's available, right? Of course, there are much more as well, but then more or less in broad category, these are the three to four categories you have, right? We'll just see how the back end of that channels looks like, and I'll just kind of share my screen and I'll show you the actual back end, how it kind of looks like. What marketers they do is, once they decide on their promotional strategy, what needs to be promoted, then there are teams, there are members who log into this backend, and then they create and upload and write context, which then they publish, and that is the one that we see as external users, right? So that's what they do. So I'll show you how the typical platforms looks like, and all of these are SaaS based platforms, be it a Google or a LinkedIn or a Facebook or Instagram. Everything is all SaaS based, right? So which means it is self-serve. So somebody in the team or in the group is able to use a login password and create their account and kind of run advertisements. That's the nature of the SaaS-based platforms, and all of them kind of follow pretty similar logic. Of course, platform to platform, the various features and functions differ, but the fundamental principle of a SaaS-based platform would be to kind of create a user ID, login, password, and then you go and take the different steps to kind of create those accounts, etc. Right? So I'll share my screen. I'll probably start with the easiest one, which is LinkedIn. And all of you are familiar with social media. So let me share my screen, and I'll open this up so that you are able to see how things are done. Just give me a moment. I'll just open this up, and this is a real platform that actually is in place. So what you will see is something which is very real, right? So let me share my screen. Right. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right. So this is just a example of how a backend platform looks like, right? As I said, it's a SaaS-based platform. So when you want to start your advertising, you need to just create your account on a platform, right? And once you have created the account, then this is the kind of interface that you see. This is LinkedIn backend, right? What you will see here is every time somebody wants to create a campaign, they would click on this advertise section. And of course, there are some already existing campaigns created over here. But then if you want to create something, it's already self-explanatory. You just click on say create, and then you say create a campaign. And then it will ask you for various different details, right? Let's say I would want to create and I'll probably use a test or something like that, because this is mainly for our class purposes. When you would want to create campaign, there are certain objectives that that the system will ask you, because every campaign should be with a purpose. What is the purpose? Is it to create awareness? Is it to for users to engage more with your videos? Is it more to apply for jobs, or is it more you are wanting to bring the traffic to your website? So there could be different such awareness. I mean, different such kind of objectives that you may have. So based on your purpose, you will have to choose one such at the first instance. So let's say for our example's sake, right now, we want to create something which we call as a brand awareness, right? What does brand awareness mean? It means typically you as a part of your organization want to promote your organization and your brand based on the services and offerings you have. So let's say, for example, you are selling flowers, or maybe you are selling bicycles, or maybe you are a small startup and you want your brand to be kind of known or present, and you want to reach out to the right audiences, right? Then you kind of choose this objective to create that awareness in the market, right? Also, just to keep in mind, and before I proceed, every platform has certain USPs or unique selling propositions. So when it comes to LinkedIn, LinkedIn is a very strong platform for a B2B. Of course, people use it for B2C as well, but it is more B2B. And the reason why it is B2B is primarily because in LinkedIn, you have it's a professional network. You have everybody present there who are professionals, who are in their industry or in their domains, they are experts. So typically, if you want to reach out to from an org to an org, that is an organization talking to an organization, that is a B2B, LinkedIn is a good place to kind of really reach out, because you will high chances you will find the relevant users present there, and you are able to reach out to them, right? And hence, so let's say we would want to create something to do with a brand awareness, just to create like an awareness in the market. So I choose this section over here. It also tells you the next step, what is going to be the case, right? Now the next question that it will come over here is what is the target audience? That is, where would you want to show these ads? Let's say India. I'm choosing a particular an entire country. I can choose sitting here. I can choose to advertise anywhere. I can always choose other countries as well. Like while it is India over here, I can always choose any other country like in the United States, UK, or name any country in the search button. You kind of say, let's say for example, Singapore, right? You will get options for Singapore. Let's say you Germany, you'll get options. So basically, sitting here, you can choose any country or any places where you would want your ads to be targeted. So your targeting option is available, right? Then, you will have some forecasted results, and this is an example of how AI and machine learning works together in an ad platform. While from the technology point of view, you may be learning what is an AI or what is it the machine learning does, and a lot of you would be already the technologists who are kind of doing the hard coding, etc. But for an end user, how that appears is this. So if I say I want to spend so much of budget in 30 days for my advertising, then my system is giving me a forecast of what is the audience target size, how many people will I be able to reach out to, what kind of frequency, how many times the ads will show, what's my total cost, or over the period of your 30 day, what's my total reach, how much am I able to reach, right? So all these starts to tell you that how you can plan your campaign. And this is an example of the system telling you, because LinkedIn over the years have used machine learning and have learned how the behaviors and patterns are. Similarly, even Facebook or Google or any one of these platforms, they will be able to give you those details, right? So the way the platform becomes intelligent by learning these, and then they're able to forecast, and these forecasts helps to understand what you may want to do. Now let's say for example here the ad spend is mentioned as something like 30 day spend, right? So if I want to, let's say, one second, so let's say if I want to look at how much it should be in a 7 day, the moment you choose a 7 day, then it will recommend this is the kind of spend you should do. If you are looking at 1 day, then it will recommend this is the kind of spend you should be doing, right? The reach that is available on a particular day, the 7 days, 30 days. So, and you can then plan your campaign, how long is the duration that you would want to run your campaign for, right? So that's there. Then if you scroll down further, you will see what are the different kinds of ads that's possible, right? Now, every platform has different capabilities. They all have different types of ads and creatives that is possible. Typically in LinkedIn, when I'm sure when you browse, you will see a few of these common ads. You will see a single image ad, which is more like a banner and then a description. You will also see a lot of times a video ad, when typically in your LinkedIn feed, you will see a video that's coming in with a text, right? You will also see carousel ads, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's you scroll like this, and that's kind of a carousel. There are different types of creatives that is possible. So let's say for our simplicity's sake, we choose a single image ad over here, right? And then I say, what kind of placements, where would I want my ads to be shown? Is it only going to be on LinkedIn, or is it also going to be outside as well, which are part of the LinkedIn network? So every platform has a set of network as well, who are called as the audience networks, right? So if you want to increase your reach, then you may want to choose this. But if you just want to choose only on LinkedIn, that's fine as well, right? And the moment you disable this, you will see by disabling the LinkedIn audience, you are missing out on an estimated so many percentage of reach. So you will get all this information and detailing from the platform itself. And that's an example of your machine learning, and how these platforms, they give you this automated features. right? Then you kind of, use your daily budgets. That is like we saw the forecast over here, how much that needs to be spent for 30 days. So you do a kind of, daily budget and then multiply that by 30 days. So 30 into 100 is 3,000 over here, right? You choose a start date, which day you would want your campaign to kind of, go live, right? And then you can just go click on next, right? It will give you this thing. Now, of course, we have no ads as an example, but typically when you're actually running the ads, you will always get an option to kind of create new ads, right? You kind of choose that, and this is where you kind of write. And let's say, for example, you can say okay, let's say test. This is the test ad group, right? So what is it that you would want to promote about? Let's say SaaS based software solution. All right, this is your headline. So you will see, as you keep typing, these things will start showing on the right hand side. It means it will give you the preview of how an ad is going to look like. Now over here, obviously this is a ThoughtWorks account, and then this logo is coming in. When you do your own, then your own logo and your own name will kind of start appearing. So if Amazon does it, it is going to show as Amazon. If Flipkart does it, it is going to show as Flipkart. If IBM does it, it will show as IBM. So anybody who does it, their name, etc., kind of starts showing over here, right? Destination URL. Where would you want your users to come and visit? So let's say for right now, I'm giving in as this is my destination URL, right? This is where I would want the users to kind of come and visit. And this is where I would be wanting to choose some image, etc., right? And let's see how this kind of looks like. So maybe I'll just try and see if there is something which is available. So let's say I have one such image which is which I already have. I select this. I select this, and then I start writing the headlines, right? So while I wrote the primary description over here, the introductory text as to what it is all about, I have another section to kind of fulfill. So let's say I will write it as responsible technology, correct? Which means this is how my ad will look like on the right hand side. So for an user, when this ad is published, this is how the user will kind of typically look at it. They will see the image, they will see the headline, they will see what is the URL where somebody needs to click, and then the topic as to what is it that you're talking about. So these are the sections, that is the headline, and also this your introductory text is where you select and determine your message. What is it that you would want the users to do? Based on that, the user takes an action. But what is important to understand is through a SaaS based platform like a LinkedIn, etc., you are able to create these kind of advertisements. And as you're creating, on the right hand side, you are also able to see that how the ad will actually look like. So at any point in time, if you want to kind of make changes even before publishing and going live, you are able to do that. So these options are kind of available to you, right? And then you select a call to action, which typically talks about what do you want the users to do? Is it a download? Is it apply or learn more or subscribe and register? Whatever it is, right? A lot of times for events, you say it's register. A lot of times, for to listen to some sort of a broadcast, you say join. Or if you have some product which you would want to show as a demo, then you say request a demo, right? It all depends on how you would want to kind of really talk about it, right? Let's say for example's sake, I'm just saying learn more. So typically, when a user clicks on this, they will see learn more coming over here. This is how the ad's going to kind of look like, right? Okay. All right. So here is my final, version of the ad. The moment I say save the ad, it will get saved. And then I say publish, the ad will get published. And as a user, you will be probably seeing on the LinkedIn feed, like if ThoughtWorks has kind of, shared this kind of an ad, this is how it is going to kind of look like, right? So that's how the backend works. Pretty simple example of a LinkedIn is what I have shared here. But we'll soon see when we are looking into Google and Facebook, etc. It is almost similar, but like with some more features, etc. That is possible, right? So I'll stop sharing for some time and ask if you have any questions. So questions from your end. Any questions around how ads are created? And the reason I'm asking you this is because in your case studies, etc., you would be given uh, uh, problems to solve or questions to solve where you will have a component of marketing as well. So it's very important that you understand as to how this is done. No questions at all? Is it all clear? Okay. So if it is clear, okay, so I see a question here. All right. Mithun asks, sir, how much should we pay for it? It depends on your budget, Mithun. Uh, what is your advertising budget? In the example, we saw that it is $100 per day. So for the 30 days period, it is $3,000. I mean, you can convert that into rupees as well. Let's say 100 rupees per day multiplied by 30 days is 3,000 rupees. Whatever the currency you want to choose, you can choose. So it all depends on how much is your advertising budget. And one of the fundamental principles of digital marketing and costing is you pay only for the click. So which means only when the user is actually clicking on your ad, you are actually paying for it. You're just not paying just for the sake of kind of paying. So if your total budget is 3,000 rupees for 30 days, that is 100 rupees per day. And you can say you are willing to pay like 5 rupees per click. So which means 100 divided by 5 is 20 clicks per day is what you will get. So you can do that kind of a mathematical calculation. And then we'll see if I get 20 clicks, then maybe from those 20 clicks, there will be two customers who may want to take an action, either download or learn or whatever, fill a form, whatever it is, right? And then you kind of multiply that by 30 days and you see, okay, fine, if this is what I would want to continue for the 30 days for the business, this is what I am able to generate. That is how you do the maths. Unlike very traditional advertising like print or a television or let's say your billboards and hoardings where you pay upfront, right? You decide for 30 days if I have to run a television ad, then this is the amount that I need to pay, and you pay upfront. In case of digital, you plan it, you put it in the system, right? And then you calculate how much and you would want to kind of pay for based on your total budget and how many days would you want to run the ads for. And at any point in time, you have the flexibility to change also. You have the flexibility to reduce it. You have the flexibility to kind of increase it. If you see that performance is happening good, then you may say, okay, I may not be spending 3,000. I am okay to spend 10,000. So you can actually increase it. Which means if you're increasing it, your per day clicks are coming more. The more the clicks, the more the users. So that is how you are also able to optimize, because you have a very good control of what's happening in the backend. And that's one of the biggest advantages of digital advertising, that you are in control of the cost. It's not left at the mercy of anybody else. You yourself know how much needs to be spent, what needs to be changed, etc. That's a good question. Any other questions?
No, no, sir.
Okay, sure. So while we saw the example of LinkedIn, I'll also share with you the example of Google. And Google, you will see there are multiple types of campaigns you can create. That is, you can create search, you can create display banner advertisements. Then there are tools from where you can find the keywords, what you will need to use for your campaigns, etc. So let me share my screen. So very similar to any other SaaS platform and also on LinkedIn, this is how typically the Google search platform kind of looks like, right? You have your campaigns and you can set your goals. It's very similar. We saw in LinkedIn, what kind of goals you would want to set up, awareness or downloads or anything else, right? And then you have different tools from where you can actually do the planning. So let's say I want to create some search campaigns and I kind of, go to this, my planning. So I click on, there is something called as a keyword planner. If I click on a keyword planner, then this is what comes up, right? It gives you the options, discover new keywords, or it also gives you options, get search volumes and forecasts, what kind of keywords are supposed to be working well and what kind of keywords will give you a volume. Now, Google's example is probably in the industry one of the best examples of how AI and machine learning has worked together over the years. It started in 1998, and then, yeah, I can see a hand that is being raised from Khyati KTC Hubli. So please go ahead, ask the question. Go ahead, ask the question. KTC Hubli.
No, sir. No, sir.
Oh, I can see a hand raised. Okay. Because it shows in Zoom, somebody is kind of, raising their hand. So I thought there is a question. All right, no worries. So yeah, so what I was saying is so Google's example is one of the key examples in the industry. That's an absolute brilliant example of how machine learning over the years has helped a system and a technology. So this search volumes and forecasts and discover new keywords, these are all based on the various trends and multiple years of user behavior. When users search, all those things, data are kind of stored, and then the machine starts learning, and then they kind of give you more and more relevant information, right? So that's how it is. So I'm just giving you the background for the technology part of it. The application of machine learning is this. One of the applications of machine learning is this, right? So let's say I want to create new keywords. Either I can type in something and it will give me some results, or I can say if I have a website, then I can put in the link of the website also, that will help me kind of get the keywords. So let's say I put in, okay, let's say Amazon.com. And let's say I am trying to, sorry, let's start with the website, right? Let's say I would want to understand from the entire Amazon website, what are the possible keywords and recommendations I will get. So I say get results. And when I say get results, and this is right now selected to United Kingdom, I can always change the country as well. I can say, let's say I can remove United Kingdom. I can say India. India as a country. So I want to target India as a country. It shows me over here. I save it. Right. So I will then see what kind of results am I kind of getting. These are the different keywords that is relevant for me. I can probably filter by average monthly searches. Let's say I choose an ascending order, right? I will see what kind of, I will see what kind of keywords are relevant for me. So Kindle, like, some books, or like, Logitech. So these are the high performing, like, categories in Amazon, and users are actually searching on this, and I'll be able to see all of these over here. So then what do? I see some other multiple statistics as well. I see that for these keywords, like, what are the monthly changes? What are the changes in the last 3 months? I can see it from the column over here. So if I see, like, for example, Amazon Kindle Publish, if this is the keyword that is being used, so in the 3 months, the search has gone up by 26%. Right? If I see the next one, book clean code, the search in the last 3 months has gone up by 14%, which means this gives me an information of the user behavior, what users are searching on, right? Then to the question earlier, that what is the amount we should be kind of bidding, the system will also show you that you can probably pay so much amount of money per click. You multiply that into 30 days, 40 days, 50 days, and then you have the total budget, right? It will also give you, like, what is the amount you need to, like, pay minimum to stay on top of the top of the page, because obviously unless you're on the top of the page on Google search, the clicks are not that high, right? So you will have all these 866 keyword ideas available. You can download them, downloadable in Excel file over here itself, and then you can choose out of 866, maybe you want to choose the top 100 keywords, and then go ahead and create a campaign, right? That's how you do it. So typically, which means tomorrow, if you as an end user, you are actually typing something and an ad now comes up in front of you on Google search results, somebody would have used this keyword to publish that ad targeting you because they would expect you as an user would go ahead and search. But this is how it works in the backend, right? So again, like example of, like, how technology and AI and machine learning, etc., is kind of helpful. Of course, with Chat GPT coming in, and that's a more of a Microsoft product, Google has also kind of launched this competition called Bard. So it will be very keen to see, like, how that takes shape. And once that kind of gets more and more refined, more and more fine-tuned, then that will also have a different way of kind of showing these results, because maybe that point in time the results might be even more relevant because the system would have automatically kind of gotten a lot of these things, right? So as technology keeps evolving, so does these platforms and the backend, and that's a key takeaway, right? So once you have this list of keywords, etc., and stuff like that, then all you do is, like, let's say, for example, you want to create a campaign. You say create a campaign, right? And then again, choose your objective, exactly like LinkedIn, as you saw, right? Brand, ad promotion, sales, leads, website traffic, whatever is your, like, options are. Local store visits. A lot of times, like, you would have people coming into your local stores and kind of, like, visit, right? You would want to track that as well. So you have multiple ways of kind of doing digital ads to actually drive traffic to the stores as well, right? So you choose any one of them. Let's say I choose, like, sales. Then I say, like, like, what is it that I would want to say. For example, I would want like, uh, uh, to receive phone calls. I would want to track, like, how many phone calls have come through, right? So I want to choose those kind of goals. I say continue. Sorry. Uh, Actions. Okay. I think no. What? Sometimes the system doesn't allow you to kind of choose the right things. Okay. Select a campaign type. So let's say, for example, I select search because we saw the keyword tool talking about search. So I choose search, and then I say, like, my goal is maybe phone calls. Uh, okay. Sorry, this phone call. This is like India. So you can put in some sort of a number over here. just putting in a random number over here, right? I will say some sort of a campaign over here, which is a test, right? Or any of the campaign name that you would want to do. And then you say continue, right? Uh, mm, correct. And that's where you will find all the rest of the things coming as well. Like, how much, like, budget you would want to put, right? What is your, what you want to focus on? In this case, obviously, we said conversion. Then we'll add your keywords. We already got the keyword suggestions. Once we get the keyword suggestions, we can just kind of, put in the keywords over here. And then that gets added to the system. Then we say create those ads. What kind of ads? Very similar to LinkedIn. You will have like, a headline, you will have like, the description, you will have the business name, etc. And all when you start adding them, you'll start seeing this populating on the right hand side. And then like, how this is being done, right? So very similar in logic to like, what you saw, but the platforms are different. Right? So let me pause here for some time and see if you have any questions for Google. Like I'm sure all of you use Google search quite a lot, but now you would know if you see an ad, what happens in the back end, like, when a Google ad comes up in front of you. Any questions? Any queries, questions on Google? So tomorrow, if a case study or some sort of a project is given to you, I'm hoping you will be able to at least have a structure which talks about what are the 5 things you would want to do, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then in case of like, LinkedIn or Google, etc., you'll be able to say, okay, we can look into this, or maybe you can actually give some relevant examples as well and kind of build it, right? So I'm hoping that should be fine with you. But if you have any questions, then please ask.
No, sir. No, sir.
Yeah. Anybody else? I mean, this is Kionix Hubli, but anybody else from anywhere? Okay, all right. Fine. Similarly, I'll also show you the example of like, how a Facebook kind of, looks like. And of course, right now it's all called Meta, but essentially it is kind of, Facebook. So I'll share my screen. And again, you will see there is a lot of similarity, right? As I said, every SaaS platform has similarity, right? So this is again an example of a Facebook. So if you want to kind of, say create, it will ask you like, again, the goals. So every time you see there's a similar pattern. So any platform that you choose, the first thing that you will need to kind of, determine is what is your goal in the at the end of the campaign. What is it that you would want to achieve out of it, right? That's what is the first starting point. So again, you choose this, and this will also give you like, if it is awareness, then what are the measures like, you would see. So for awareness, if you choose as a goal, then typically like, if you it's good for brand awareness, it is good for a larger reach, it is good for video views if you have video as an ad format. So it will also kind of, give you all those notifications over here, right? So and then you say continue, and then you again name your campaign. What is that campaign all about? You choose so there are some categories called special categories, right? So for example, if it is housing, employment, like, social issues, elections, politics, credit, etc., this is called as special categories. And the reason, you have to declare it, because your advertisement on social media can have multiple different influence on the people. You should not be appearing as an advertiser who is probably a fraudulent advertiser or who is trying to influence things in a wrong way. But if you declare it that, like, yes, you are an authentic person and you are kind of going to talk about a certain topic, say, for example, elections, right? In fact, like, Karnataka elections are coming sometimes very soon. So if anybody wants to kind of, and there would be only those authorized people or agencies who are allowed to run advertisements on social media for the elections, so that there is no miscommunication or there is no false communication to influence people. So that part, the agencies here would then have to declare themselves that they have the permission to talk about social issues or elections in politics, so that it is identified, it is authentic, right? So you have those as well. But again, for categories which are not those sensitive, you don't need to choose any such category. Then you can just simply kind of go on from one to the other. Again, you choose your budget, you you know and obviously you will get all these different details over here, right? You can choose age, gender, other demographics and stuff, right? Where would you want your ads to be placed? So even from this itself, you can choose to place your ads on Instagram as well. You don't need to create a separate Instagram advertisement. You can do it from Facebook too, right? So you can choose all those things. And then again, and I'm not going into the more details over here because the next of the steps are kind of similar. If you click on next, etc., that is what is going to be the case. But typically, you will see how the ads appear. And this is one example of an ad that you see over here. And you will see the various feeds. In Instagram, this is how it will look like. In Facebook feed, this is how it will look like. So you'll find all of these options available over here itself. And then once you say publish, your ads are kind of live, right? So that's how you kind of typically do this, right? So yeah, I am now switching this off because we would not want to do anything over here. Okay, cool. All right. Now we have seen all the various platforms, right? So any questions overall on any of the platforms? If not, then I will have some questions for you. Anything at all? Okay. If not, then I'll have some points which I would want to share, right? Typically, the kind of questions and the kind of case studies or kind of projects you will get if it is a marketing related is, you will be given an overall objective of an organization, a brief. It's called a campaign brief, right? The brief will tell you what you need to do in order to promote your products and your solutions. So for example, the brief might tell you, in the districts of Karnataka, we would want to improve telecommunication and transportation, logistics. You are a company, you are a government, public sector company, and you have all these capabilities. Now, how would you reach out to the various vendors or various folks in your area to create awareness that government is doing XYZ in these things, in telecommunication, in transportation, logistics, whatever it is, right? So that's a larger brief. Now, as a government, person who is doing the marketing for the government needs to understand what is the messaging that needs to go out. What is it that like the users, any one of us will, once we see, we understand in terms of communication what's going to be, what is the message that government is trying to say. Then as a marketeer, then I'm also supposed to decide, okay, which are the channels I will be using. So let's say, for example, all the 3 channels which we saw right now, and I decide to use all of these 3. How will I use it? What is my total monthly budget? How will I distribute my monthly budget into these 3 channels? How many days would I run campaigns across all these 3 channels? Am I going to run all these campaigns simultaneously across all these three channels for the entire month, for the entire year, for the entire quarter? Or should I do a phase one, phase two, phase three? For example, in phase one, I might take a social media. Phase two, I might take a Google. Phase three, I might kind of take let's say for example something else, right? So what is my strategy in which I would want to use my marketing budget to promote to the audiences across all the digital? That's the question to be answered. I just give an example of a government and telecommunication, etc. But any question that you get in terms of marketing, this is the fundamental question. In the end, what is my strategy? How do I reach out to the people? And what is my success metrics? Tomorrow, if you have to measure success by saying, you know what, okay, I have spent 10,000 rupees or I've spent 1 lakh rupees, how do I measure the success? Is it like number of people who have come to visit my website? Is it people who have downloaded some content? Is it people who have seen the video views for a certain amount of time? Is it the people have filled up a particular form? So multiple such options, right? So that's important. So in a marketing kind of a question, this is the fundamental. And then based on whichever sector it is, whatever the case is or whatever the question is, you will have to kind of create your accordingly the story and the relevancy, right? That's what I wanted to tell you. So when we talked about an omni-channel, this is what I meant by omni-channel. At the same point in time, you have multiple channels where you would be doing your advertisements, etc., and promotions, etc. And through that, you will be kind of presenting your messages to the audiences. And then once the audience kind of reacts and takes an action, that is what you would want to measure. So that's the essence of the entire topic. Again, any thoughts, questions, anybody? Anything at all? So tomorrow, if a case study is given to you for this, I am hoping you should be able to build out this plan, because you will be graded on this, you will be scored on this, on case studies and presentations. So hence I'm asking you again and again, please ask any questions or share your thoughts if you have any, so that it can be discussed here. Okay, fine. If there are no questions, we'll kind of, I just wanted to also tell you. So I have, I don't know if all the L2s are here right now. So I have received three group, I mean, the students groups for three of the centers, that is KTC Hubli, Vaishali, and VVS Shahapur, right? And within this, there are groups, I think KTC Hubli, I can see there are 5 groups, Vaishali has almost 3 groups, and VVS has again 5, sorry, 7 groups, right? So this is the student list is, and the groups is what I have kind of received right now. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to, for each one of these centers and the groups, I'm going to be sharing case studies, right? I'm going to be sharing certain questions, and I'm going to be sharing certain projects which you will need to kind of look at and start presenting it, right? And of course, these will be very simple ones to start with, because this is the first time that we are going to do. It's not going to be complex. So I'm also going to be kind of mentioning exactly what are the few things you may need to do. So, right. But the important thing would be to see your presentation skills, and how you are able to understand the question, break it down into the various problems and the solutions that you are going to be offering. I think that is the format which is going to be important. So I'll be sharing this with obviously Harinakshi and the Kunis Karnataka team, who would be able to distribute further. Next couple of classes that we have, I think next Friday and Saturday, we will divide this time for presentations. And of course, we'll have more presentations in the future as well. But we would want to start this from the next week itself, right? Um, just a few guidelines and something that you should keep in mind, for this. Keep your presentation very simple. Don't have to make hundreds of slides or anything. In fact, even if you don't make a slide, you can make it interactive in a particular way. So it's all up to you. How do you want to present, given the problem and the case studies that is given to you? Keep it simple. Keep it problem solution oriented, right? Keep it where you are able to bring in some interesting and future facts, and always remember that nothing is wrong in a presentation, right? Nothing is right or wrong. It is all about the approach which we would want to see. It's about you enjoying a particular question, working on the presentation and bringing it on in front of everybody, saying, hey, you know what, if this is the question, then these are the possible solutions. And then of course we'll have question answers, we'll have thoughts, we'll have some brainstorming as well, to see how we can make this better. So keep things very simple is going to be my main guidance, right? In the previous classes and the previous batches, and you can see some examples, and I'm sure the L2s here who are present can also share a few examples from them as well. But I can tell you, there were some batch of students who really kept things very simple and very interesting. I remember, I think there was one batch of students who actually even put in a link of a video saying, this is a very relevant video for 30 seconds, which is a solution to the problem that was asked. So which means there was a lot of research that was done. And then accordingly, instead of creating 10 slides, a one simple video helped. There were students who really went to the extent of creating animations in the slides. There were students who went ahead and created a storyline, starting from what the problem is, what the objective is, what is the intent, how would I want to solve the problem, then one slide of solution, and then measurement, right? There are various ways in which students actually went ahead and made the presentations. So I leave that completely to you. There is no one fixed rule of doing presentation, but the idea is presentation classes is to get people to talk, get people to present, get people to think, because in the end, when all these interviews and all these job applications, etc., comes through, this becomes very important. How you are able to tell a story at the end of the day determines whether you get through or you don't get through, right? Because person X can always be better than person Y. So hence it's important that that these options are provided, where and a platform is provided to you where you are able to speak, and you are able to speak and articulate and discuss and brainstorm and share your ideas. That is going to be the format and the way we will do the presentations. I just wanted to let you know that after this class today, I will be sharing all these details, with the team, and you'll be getting it. So you don't need many days to prepare for the presentations. Even few days to look into how the solutioning is good enough. What's important is we need to start talking and start presenting things, right? And then we can improve further in the future classes, etc. I think that's the idea. So in the end of this, your entire session, your course, you will be able to yourself see the first presentation and the last presentation. There has to be a difference, right? That's the idea. So I hope everybody agrees and everybody's okay with this approach. Just wanted to let you know about it, right? And typically, the topics are going to be revolving around whatever we have done in our previous classes, including today's, right? So today, of course, we saw the marketing examples of things. In the past, we have seen examples of SAP and all those topics as well. We have also seen a lot of videos from the LinkedIn instructors on how to appear for an interview, or what should be talking during an interview, right? So there were multiple such different topics that were covered in the last a couple of months, what we have interacted. So your case studies is going to be revolving around those areas itself. Each group will probably get something different, or maybe some sort of similarity, but I think there will be multiple opportunities to cover the various aspects of things that we have kind of studied, right? So that's what I wanted to tell you. Any questions? From anybody? Any questions?
No, sir.
Okay, all right, great. Okay, any questions on any other topics from the previous classes, or anything that we have done, or anything that you are looking forward to some in the future classes as well, so that we can also get some topics around that. Anything that you think something should be covered in the future classes as well, either through presentations or through training, whatever. Just would be happy to kind of listen to some of your thoughts.
Sir,
Yeah,
I'm Vinayak here, sir.
yeah.
Sir, I have questions like chat GPT giving the code, sir, in future. Why we learn the programming knowledge, sir? Programming.
See, there is a debate here, right? Chat GPT will give you a lot of the solutions which is ready-madely available to you, right? The question is, programming language is also going to be evolving. It's not going to be constant. Number one. Number two, the question and again, this is my personal thought. I mean, and people may have a different thought as well. My personal thought is, even if I am using a chat GPT programming language, like say, for example, I type in something and I get the ready-made answer, right? But if I don't know myself, what is it all about? How will I even review and know what ChatGPT is giving me is correct? So in the future, see, the intent of ChatGPT is to make life easier, but the intent of ChatGPT is not to substitute your skills for something else. Your skill still needs to be there, right? So if I know a particular programming language, then I would know that, okay, what ChatGPT is giving me, if it is correct, what part of that I should be taking. If it is not correct, then what can I make an improvement? Or 80% of what ChatGPT is giving is correct, 20% I need to customize myself, right? Otherwise, imagine there are 100 people like you. If everybody is copy pasting the same thing, what is the end result? End result is zero, because where is the innovation? There is no innovation over there, right? So we still need to have our own skills, and because of which, we need to learn what we need to learn. Chat GPT and similar offerings in the market should be looked upon as various tools that companies are making it available for us to make things easier, but not as a replacement. A lot of times, I have also heard this question where people say, okay, so if chat GPT is kind of giving the solution, then there's going to be a reduction of jobs. We are going to lose our jobs. My answer to that has been, losing jobs, or reduction of jobs, or evolving of the jobs is always a a change that keeps on happening. So imagine 30 years back, the kind of jobs that people would be doing and the kind of jobs people are doing right now are very different. And 30 years down the line is also going to be different. Now, 30 years back, if somebody said, oh, okay, we have an internet is going to make us lose our jobs, so we should not have internet, then that's not what it is. Rather, what should be the the way forward is, you may have one particular kind of jobs which is going to be changed into a different kind of a job. So even with chat GPT, you still need to know your subject to manage that. So maybe jobs of the nature of managing will come into more in the in the future, right? So it's not going to be about reduction of jobs, but it's going to be about what kind of jobs, and that's the cycle. So we should look at these tools more as tools which is going to be making things easy for us. These are all technology advancement and development, etc. But again, the kind of jobs that we do, we have to be staying relevant. And unless we start staying relevant, then the question comes in as to, okay, fine, you know what, okay, right now this role is not available, but some other role is available. Do you have the skill sets to kind of match that role? Yes, I do. Okay, great. Or no, I don't. Then there's a problem. So it's all about the various upskilling that we constantly need to do in this ever changing the world. And I'll give you another example of I just showed you the Google, that thing, right? Wherein you are able to see the keywords and the planners and all those things and stuff like that. Initially, when Google started, they didn't have this. So which means there was a lot of manual work the people working there would have to do in order to kind of get something in place, right? But over the time, these tools have made life easy for the people, because then it's a click of a mouse and you kind of download and then you know what to do. Does it mean that job has changed? Does it mean that there is no job as such? No, the job remains. It is the role that has changed. One has upskilled himself or herself to be in the present and the current role, so that you are able to smartly do the job. That is important. So hence, that's how we should be looking at the new age tools like ChatGPT, etc.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions from anybody? Other centers? Okay. So if there aren't any questions there, etc., so we can kind of have a end to the class today, a little early end, so that you can also kind of get some free time. I will be sharing the questions and case studies, etc., and which will be circulated to you. So my request is, in the next two classes, we'll start having these presentations. So please prepare, and we'll see how the presentations goes, right? So Harinakshi, I'll be sharing this with you. So my request will be, if you can please circulate this further to the centers and the classes and the students. Are you there, Harinakshi? Kyonis, Karnataka?
Sir, 1 minute, sir.
Yeah.
Unmute ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ, sir?
Yes, are you there? Yeah. Yeah. So I'm saying that today we are ending the class a little earlier, right?
Okay.
And I will be sending out case studies, etc., right? So that which you can circulate to the students. And then in the next two classes, we shall have more of these presentations started, right? So I just wanted to let you know.
Okay. Next class onwards, no, sir?
Yes, next Friday and Saturday we have consecutive classes, right?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah. I mean, we may not be able to cover all the batches in the 2 days, but it will be subsequent. But we want to get started. We want to get started.
Okay.
Just like last batch previously, however we have done that. Right?
Okay. Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Have a good weekend. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.